You're listening to The Dangerous Mind of Mark Yoshimoto Nemkov. No excuses, no BS, no pants.
This is a clean preamp. You're listening to the MT-48, but I'm going to switch to an even cleaner one. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Microphone Playboy podcast. Hold on while I switch to the Cranborne Camden 500. So this is the Camden 500 from Cranborne Audio. And I've had this preamp for quite a while. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure I was the first person to buy one in the United States when they came out. This preamp is gain on a wire, which means it's really what goes in comes out. But it has a few extra special features to it that allow you to shape the tone. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to talk a little bit through it as it is. So this is the default setting, very clean. I'm using the Loudon Clarion. So this is what you would get, really pretty much the cleanest preamp, I think, that I own, by far, is this. And if you compare it to the clean, and I'm making air quotes, which you can't see because this is an audio-only episode, the clean sound of the MT-48 definitely doesn't sound as clean in comparison. It's got a little bit of caramel on it. But this is pretty much just straight up clean, gain on a wire. But what the Camden 500 brings to the party is something called Mojo. Now, Mojo is a knob on the front of the Camden 500. And it has two different settings. There's thump and there's cream. And so they affect the sound in different ways. So thump is really supposed to kind of emulate what a transformer does. So it's going to add some thickness in the low end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little thump here. I'm going to add just a tiny touch of thump. Okay, this is with thump on, and it's just barely on. So the dial is set at what you would call 9 o'clock. So there's a little bit of thump on there. I don't know if it's making much of a difference, especially if you're listening through like a consumer grade speaker or device. So there's just a little tiny bit of thump on there. So we're going to turn it up a little bit more. All right, so here it's thump set at 12 o'clock, so the knob is set straight up. You could definitely feel it a little bit more. And I don't know really how much this does emulate like what a transformer brings, but it's adding some of that low-end thickness to it. It is adding thump to it. This may be a little bit too much. I mean, it's probably good if you're, it's a different case study. If you're doing voiceover as opposed to singing. When you're singing, you're back from the mic a little bit further away, so that low end doesn't feel as bloomy. So, this is not a terrible sound. So I'm going to go, let me take it all the way to an extreme sound. Hold on. So this is with thump turned up to 3 o'clock. So there's an awful lot of too much low end going on here. And again, this is as I back off the mic, I'm backing off the mic a little bit. This may work a little bit better if you're doing music. So, but as an effect, I mean, it's interesting, and it's adding some harmonic content in there too, but really kind of like in the lows and low mids. Let me dial this back to between the 9 o'clock and 12 o'clock settings. So let's go about 10:30. Hold on. So this to me feels a little bit more interesting. Here we are at 10:30. And again, you're getting a little bit of that thickness. You're getting like kind of like a low end. I don't want to call it a build up, but I would call it like a low end energy that is there that was not there before. So let's go now. I'm going to turn off. Let's recalibrate our ears. I'm going to turn thump off completely. So again, here we are with Mojo turned off, with thump turned off. So this is really the default sound of the Camden 500. So now that you've heard thump, let's listen to cream. All right, so this is with cream turned on and in the 9 o'clock position. And you're definitely hearing more excitement going on in the harmonic content in the signal here. Now, cream is different than thump. Thump really affects more of the low end, like lows and low mids, the way a transformer would. But cream is adding a little bit more to the mids, really the upper mids, really over across all the mids, I think, and really in the highs. So you're getting more excitement of those secondary harmonics in that region as opposed to down low. So this is definitely getting into that sound that you could use to really cut through some dense stuff. So let's turn cream up even more. Let's go to 12 o'clock. All right, here at 12 o'clock, you're starting to get more low-end energy too. It's starting to get a little bit too saturated for my taste. But you know what? Again, there may be a place for this sound for what you do. You're starting to, you can really, right there. You can feel it breaking up. So there is a lot of harmonic content in there, just at 12 o'clock. Let's really dial it up. All right, here we are at 3 o'clock. And that sounds like I'm talking through a bullhorn amplified through like a handheld dynamic. That's definitely not a sound I would use, but this is a very extreme version of it. And you can really hear the way it's exciting that mid-range. There's way too much going on. So let's turn it back to a more subtle setting. There they go. Let's go back. Let's go to 1030. And here we are with cream set at about 1030. And I like this. I think cream with just the littlest touch on it, just barely, maybe even dial it back a little bit more. Let me dial it back to about 10 o'clock. Hold on. Okay. Oh, that's better. So I think that little touch of cream on there gives it that edge that'll really help it cut. I think really, especially if you have something like a 416 through this, would really give it that extra edge, make it pop a little bit more. And what I like this kind of sound because especially if you kind of talk a little bit softer like this, if you're doing stuff like in this range, in this register, it helps bring it forward a little bit. So it feels a little bit more like it's in the room. Like it feels like it's stepping out a little bit more towards you. But overall, right, so you've got cream, you've got thump, you've got these two different kinds of mojo that you can impart on your signal. And that's pretty cool because the Camden 500 is pretty darn cheap. It's like still under like $400. I think it's like $350 something in that range. It was like $329 when I bought it. It hasn't gone up that much in many years. Let's go back to the default setting. So here it is with Mojo turned off again. And, I do feel like you get a lot with this preamp. There's a lot you can do. And I think, if you're doing music too, I mean, you could definitely use thump to really make a kick drum really roar. And I think that you could really use cream to make your vocals sound really interesting. But when it comes to voiceover, what you want are really subtle uses of this Mojo technology. You want just a little sprinkle of Mojo. And I think it could really help you create different tones and create sounds that will definitely help cut or help stand out more. And that's what you want. So overall, right, the Camden 500 by Cranborne Audio. Very transparent sounding. And again, what I like about a very clean preamp is that when you record through a very clean preamp, right, you are getting the character of the mic. You preserve the character of the mic, and you also have something that you can work with later. If you add too much coloration to the signal and you wanna I almost said tamper, and you want to mess with it later, you may be limited as to what you can do. But the transformerless, completely, mostly gain on a wire Camden 500. I think is a great choice for voiceover. And again, it's quite an affordable unit, and they're pretty well made. And I got to tell you also that I had the opportunity to meet the Cranborne Audio guys at NAMM. The last time I went to NAMM, which was before COVID. So the year before COVID, what was it, 2019? So I went to NAMM 2019. And one of the reasons I went was to say hi to those guys. And I hung out with those guys for a little bit. It's so cool. Really a cool bunch of guys over there. And they really get it. So, So if you have any interest at all in the Camden 500 from Cranborne Audio, it is a super affordable 500 series preamp that can deliver a lot of different tones. It's pretty cool. It's definitely something, if you are someone who likes to collect preamps for your 500 series lunchbox, take a look at the Camden, because I guarantee you will find use for this and you'll be very glad you have it in your kit. So, but what do you think? The Camden 500. All right, I need to know. All right, you know what to do. I beg for it all the time. Leave a comment. All right, until next time. This is Mark Yoshimoto Nemkov, fading to black.